Hey everybody, thanks for hitting that subscribe button and downloading the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell on the side so you know when all of our videos are going up, whether it be Collective Gaming, Collective Podcast, First Looks, Reviews, and other great, wonderful videos that we have. Also, if you're listening to us on any other podcasting apps, hit that subscribe button, take a listen, and thank you for listening. But remember,
get that leg. What is going on, everybody? It is Collective Podcast here on episode 14. We will be doing our Halloween special, having Michael Leavy of Fuzz on the Lens Productions. Christian, how do you feel about this?
Well, I can't see because I took my glasses off, but I'm trying to get something off of my glasses. I don't know what it is.
Do you think there's a fuzz on that?
I think there is a fuzz. I gotta get it off. Hold on. There's fuzz on that lens. But yes, Michael Leavy is here on the podcast.
Now, what a production that was.
Yes, my poor attempt at humor. But yes, Mike Leavy is here. We're going to talk to him all things Fuzz on the Lens. We're going to talk to him about his movie Abnormal Attraction, H60, the parody of the Halloween trailer. They're as I'm drawing a blank here, hold on. They're all their great films.
Terrifier.
Oh, Terrifier. We're going to talk to them about, they were on CBS yesterday. So
I didn't see this yet, so I'm very curious.
I did. So talking about their house, all their decorations, what they want to do with them, how they treat everybody, all the trick-or-treaters, scaring them. We're also going to talk about Staten Island Clown.
Oh, the classics.
Yeah, the classics, all the great stuff. And yeah, we're going to talk to all things filmmaking.
Are you sure all things filmmaking?
The filmmaker I strive to be, Mike Leavy. So my filmmaking, one of my filmmaking idols, heroes. So when my mom asked me what do I want to grow up to be, I want to be a filmmaker.
You want to be Mike Leavy?
I want to be Mike Leavy. Yeah. No, really. I'm being serious. I'm not joking. They do such consistent content.
Well, let me just interject a little bit on that. So, I actually went to school with Mike. I went to school with Kyle at St. John's, and that whole team, including Steve Dewasawa, very big part of that as well. They are a dynamic to be reckoned with. They're such an amazing and collaborative group of people who have brought a lot of opportunity to Staten Island in the film industry. So, it's an honor for us to be interviewing them, and we couldn't be more excited for it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, by the way, I saw Halloween last week.
Ooh.
And it'll be a separate video, which I will...
You need its own safe space?
Yeah. As you can tell by the tone of my voice already how that review is going to go.
Oh, boy. Does that mean we have to wait till Christmas?
That means, Jerry, after we record this, you're going to be sitting across from me, just listening to me,
and just staring into the abyss.
But let's not do any downer. We have Mike Leavy on. And
happy thoughts, Christian.
Happy thoughts. Next week, the big one, Larry Sharp.
Oh, the big one.
Larry Sharp. He's going to be here. But my phone went off. But for right now, it's Mike Leavy. So let's get to the interview.
Let's do it. What is going on, everybody? Collective Podcast here. This is Jerry speaking for episode 14. Christian is actually deciding to share this episode with me finally as a co-host. So, Christian, how does that make you feel before we introduce to Michael Leavy?
I'll try not to talk over you.
So, we just wanted to introduce for Michael Leavy from Fuzz on the Lens Productions. So, Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and I just found out I'm on the Lucky 14. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky 14th episode. I'm honored to be here in the studio and, chatting with you guys tonight.
Jerry Square.
Hey, hashtag Square.
Yeah, so thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on. You were on. I saw you guys were on CBS yesterday.
Yeah, that was fun. They saw our, we have a Halloween display at our house, and me and my brother's been doing it for years now. It's all started with my grandfather and my mother showing us horror movies, and then eventually we built our first little mannequin thing, maybe like 25 years ago.
Man.
Yeah, with my grandfather. It was a Scream. It was basically 2 wooden stakes, like a cross with a Scream outfit on it, and we threw the mask from like Party City or wherever. And so we had that in the yard a couple times, and then eventually we lit it, and then we started doing more characters, and then eventually it grew into this huge thing. Since my grandfather has passed away, but me and my brother Jason had kind of carried on the tradition of doing it, and now our display is getting bigger and bigger, so CBS came down to check it out. And, they asked, why do you love Halloween so much? And I said, what filmmaker wouldn't love Halloween?
The very complex questions you get.
But it's like, what filmmaker wouldn't? Because, think about it, the essence of Halloween is getting dressed up and pretending to be a character. What's filmmaking? What's acting?
Exactly.
Getting dressed up and pretending to be wow, it's like the filmmaker's holiday. But it was really fun. It was really cool to be on CBS.
You should make that pitch towards, like, the administration. Why not make it like a filmmaker's holiday for Halloween?
I should have like an announcement for that and use it as my slogan.
How many of the mannequins do you have up?
Now, maybe somewhere between 12 and 15 right now.
Oh boy.
And every year we've added one, or and that's not always mannequins. There are life-size stuff that we've added. We've added like little things too, tombstones and little hanging ghosts and stuff. But for the most part, I get a lot of my buddies that are in the film world to help me. They'll make the face or of the character, the creature. They'll make an arm, or they'll make something pretty cool, and then me and my brother will kind of Frankenstein them together and make them into full life-size busts. Occasionally we'll make something ourselves, but for the most part, it's basically Frankensteining them from other people. Do a face, do an arm, do a shoulder. A shoulder, right? No.
They also mentioned that you're going to open up, like you want to open up a museum in the future for everything.
Yeah, that's been a goal of ours for a long time. Originally, not many people probably know this, but the history, if you back up Fuzz and the Lens Productions, which obviously is our film company, production company, before that, me and my brother, when we were doing it ourselves, it was Leavy Entertainment. And
did you do that at St. John's or whatever?
I did. It was like the transition of changing over, because the Fuzz and the Lens joke and everything kind of started off, and that's really what it was. It was a joke in high school with a couple of buddies, and some of them actually are in the company now. And or form the company. Shouldn't say in. Steve will be like, "What?" No, but
Steve will drive over here.
Oh yeah,
knock on the door.
So, it was myself and Steve De La Sala and my brother and one other friend that is an accountant. Has nothing to do with filmmaking, but he was the one who actually came up with the Fuzz on the Lens thing, because there was a fuzz on the lens and we couldn't find it. And we're recording, so we're looking at the lens trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And then all of a sudden we realized it was a smudge on the viewfinder.
Oh.
And so there was no fuzz on the lens, and we were looking like schmucks into the camera lens. So it was an ongoing joke on the sets, like can you find the fuzz? Can you find the fuzz? And eventually it just only made sense to name the company that. But I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there. The Leavy Entertainment thing, that's what we were doing before that. And so back to the museum that's probably what we'll do with our museum. We'll probably call it like Leavy Entertainment, or Fuzz and Lens presents a Leavy Entertainment thing, and we're hoping to make it partially a bar, maybe even an old movie theater where we can screen some old films, and then you can do this walkthrough of our life-size props and mannequins and things, and who knows, maybe we'll have some Fuzz and Lens characters there too.
It's kind of smart to keep it mobile at first, because if you put too much of an investment on kind of like a residency somewhere, right, it can kind of get fabricated after a while too.
Yeah.
So it's always a better move to at least keep yourself out there and kind of network yourself first before.
Exactly. I mean, this is something that'll probably happen way down the road.
Yeah.
We still got a Fuzz and Lens office we got to get. We still, we want to eventually have a studio and a space to be able to shoot and to bring people in too.
So you're saying Leavy Entertainment presents Jerry Square?
There you go. Hey. It could happen, we are looking right now for some spaces, and we're still a little ways out, but we're looking to share some spaces and to get some people in there too for rent and stuff. So
keep me in mind. Well, you have the Fuzzmobile, so that's
we do. That was step one.
Yeah, that was step one. Yeah.
And it
make it a trailer at this point.
Yeah, it was the funny thing with that was we it really is true. If you visualize something, you can accomplish it. You just got to put it out in the atmosphere. And, it was funny. I was just having this conversation with Steve the other day, and it was like, everything that we wanted to do, we're accomplishing, maybe not as fast as we want to accomplish it. But it is being accomplished. We spoke about we wanted a red. Oh, we got a red. Now the red's old. It's like, who cares? Right? And it's like, oh, well, we wanted to make this movie Abnormal Attraction. And then all of a sudden, wow, well, we made the movie. So we want to get a truck. And then 2 trucks later now. We had an ice cream truck that was a Fuzz on the Lens truck,
wow.
which was the one in Abnormal Attraction.
Wow.
That was our first truck. And we had that for 2.5 years, 3 years. And then eventually we were able to save up. And now we have the real truck we always wanted, So it's little by little. So now we're trying to visualize an office. I just wish we would have won the Powerball last night. Things would have been easier, right?
Don't we all? So we all have that moment, that defining moment that made us want to become a filmmaker. Me, it's kind of a stupid story. When I was 4, I was in a movie theater. I watched one of the Star Trek movies, and that made it click in my head that I wanted to make films. What was that moment for you that made it just click in your head, like, this is what I want to do?
It's a hard question for me to answer that fully. I can tell you my inspirations, as a kid, because I always go to the age, I always wanted to be a filmmaker since I was the age of 4. That's because that's the earliest I can remember.
Your age too?
Yeah, it's my age too.
That's my age I can remember, I guess.
Mine's 23.
There you go. Hey, it doesn't matter when, as long as you figure it out. But it could have been even before that. So I might even say the womb. I don't know, because there was a lot of people in my family that were in the entertainment business. A lot of people know this. My father was in filmmaking. He was in the Tang commercials as a kid in the 1960s. My Uncle Jimmy did a couple of things, and he did something with called From Earth to the Moon with Tom Hanks. My great grandfather was a composer. My grandfather, it's not film, but he was an architecture, so he drew. You know what I mean? And so I think it was in my family's blood in me just from growing up. There's this predisposition, to do it. But I don't know when it was I want to be a filmmaker. To me, it was I always wanted to be a filmmaker.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And my inspirations were, I loved the Halloween movie. I loved Leprechaun. Nobody likes that movie. I liked it.
I like Leprechaun.
Watching
too.
Dick Van Dyke, and Mary Poppins and things. And I remember being in the play when I think I was like 6 when I first was playing Bert in Mary Poppins down in this theater in Florida. So, it was always there. And like I said, Full House was even an inspiration, because I was never looking at, this show's entertaining, yes, obviously, but I was always, how do they do that? Especially with Halloween, right? The lighting and cinematography.
And just establishing a continuum with it, too.
Right, and that's what it was. And I just named a couple things. I loved watching Jim Carrey as a kid, just seeing him play different characters. So when I was younger, I don't know if it was I wanted to be a filmmaker as much as I wanted to be an actor. Very young, wanted to be an actor. And then that kind of changed to director. And then it kind of changed to, okay, I want to be a filmmaker, I want to produce, I want to kind of write, I want to direct. And then now it's like, well, I kind of like acting too. So let's not forget about that. High school is when that really kind of changed. Because as a kid, I was always doing movies and kind of always directing, but I didn't know that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. And that's what I would end up doing. I was just good at it. Would I rather be an actor? Probably. You get more of the rewards of it, right? You get more of the accolades. But I'm a much better director than I am. So.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Or at least acting like a director.
Exactly. I'm good at acting like a director.
Oh, yeah.
Love you too, Mike.
It's funny for me, when you said, when you were younger about, being, an actor and stuff, because I used to come up with all these stories in my head, thinking, okay, this is what would happen if I was this character, and you would think, maybe that would be... Yeah. Why you want to be a filmmaker where you're coming up with these characters that you want to play?
I could, and again, I think for me it was just such a young age that I wanted to do it. And you have these memories that you can't fully, because they're not. I guess your brain's not fully formed, or it's so long ago, or whatever. You're too young that I can't fully pinpoint it. Yeah. But yeah, I could definitely resonate.
Yeah, I can't remember any other time that I said I wanted to be something else.
Well, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah,
that's my problem.
Me. I don't know what else to do.
I was just having a conversation last night. I was at the premiere of Beyond Kepler, and it's a Mike Margeri film, and I was fortunate enough to host it. And I was at the St. George Theater. Great venue, great group of people over there. And I was there, and I met an old friend that we were just discussing networking, and we were discussing filmmaking and everything. And he goes to me, he goes, Mike, he goes, I gotta say it. He goes, you know how to network. He goes, you have that drive, you have that passion. He goes, you know what you want to do, and you just go do it. And I said that joke. I says, because I don't know how to do anything else. I said, I really don't. And I said, so maybe it's just stupidity. I said, and he said some
Sometimes
nice
the most
things,
exciting thing about doing that type of stuff is figuring out in the moment too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to be able in this business. I mean, it's really any business, but I think this business most of all is you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to think on your feet. You got to be able to move and kind of go with the flow very, very quickly because, as you guys know from being on sets, a lot of things can go up in flames really fast. You can have everything planned out the most beautiful way. You get there and something's going to go wrong. Show me one film set. Show me anyone. I'm telling you that one thing didn't go wrong. I'll say you're lying. I'm telling you something went wrong.
Black Sun over here.
Oh, yeah, no, oh my God, please. No, Hillsborough, when we did the trailer, we lost the location 2 days before.
Wow. Yeah.
And luckily, Chris was able to get one of his friends to jump on that. But then on set, that same location, we had to raise the bed up, and we bought these things off Amazon to raise the bed up. But the legs didn't fit in. The thing. So luckily, one of the set photographer, who's doubling as a PA because he just wanted to do PA work, was
that's what's beautiful about independent filmmaking is that's how it is. Everyone's helping. Everyone's got a hand doing something. There was one time where I'm directing a scene, but I'm holding the freaking boom mic. That's just how it is. Yeah. You got to make it happen. You got to make it work.
Yeah, but he goes, I'll be right back. He runs back to his house. All of a sudden, my phone's going off. He's FaceTiming me. He goes, I got bricks. Which brick you want?
There you go.
And so he goes, I'm like, and me and Chris were that one, pointing out that one. We want that one. So he comes back, and we wind up levitating.
Like playing Tetris at the same time.
Yeah, so that's, but not everything goes wrong.
It does. And, I saw a thing, he's going to kill me because I can't remember which one it was. But Matt Provenzano and the Purple Cloud guys, they did, and Mike Robert Anderson, they did a movie.
Major Key?
No, not Major. It wasn't Major Key, and it wasn't Idle Mind. It was that one in the middle, and it's slipping my mind, and I might get it, I might not. Wasn't Colors of Perception, but their movie was about making a movie.
Got it.
Oh, wait, yeah, I know which one, but
it was about making a movie, and the whole thing, it was so true. I was laughing so hard throughout the whole premiere when I saw the film, and I actually helped them a little bit. And Provenzano always tells me, he says one of the funniest things I ever told him was, we're sitting there, and he goes, Mike, can you hold a thing of water, it's a jug of water, and with a flashlight and move it back and forth to simulate fire on the actor's face.
Oh, wow.
So I'm doing it, and it was a really inventive and creative idea that Matt had. So he goes, Mike, is there a specific term for the guy that would do that? He's trying to learn. I says, yeah, asshole. I says, because that's what I feel like right now. It's just back and forth. But anyway, that movie, the point was, that movie captured, Matt's movie captured 100% what it's like in making a movie behind the scenes and the whole process. There were so many things, and there was a line in there, it's like, it's a film set. What can go wrong? And the guy goes, well, everything could go wrong. It's a film set,
Well, there's a movie that came out, I want to say like 18 years ago, in like 2000, called Age of Oblivion.
Okay.
And that's all about like the behind the scenes of just filmmaking. Peter Dinklage is actually in it, and I never realized that was one of his first roles. And I'm like, is that Peter Dinklage? I was watching it, and it's just everything could go wrong on a film set. Food was bad. Just
and now it's who's a vegetarian,
who's
got dietary problems, who's this,
who's gluten-free,
who's gluten-free,
who's
gluten-free. So it's, there's always that figuring it out, but that's also kind of fun. Not figuring out lunch. That's always a nightmare. But the fun part is figuring out.
At least it's good.
The fun part is figuring out, like, if a problem goes wrong and shot wise or something, it's that coming together and how can we get this done efficiently and as quickly and as smoothly as possible, because we didn't have this plan to go this way at all. So in the end, if you're able to accomplish it, which most good filmmakers can, we all went through it. That's really, I think, more special than accomplishing some of the stuff that you didn't plan.
Mm-hmm. So, what was? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sure. I wanted to ask just a quick follow-up question towards like how your family helped kind of build you in terms of like your film stuff. So, when you first started out in some of your earlier projects, like high school and things of that sort, who was the first person in your family you went to for like advice to make like things happen?
My mom, actually. My mom has been one of the most, the whole family, really. Everyone in my family is very supportive. But my mother was always there as the biggest cheerleader for me and for my brother Jason, because it was me and him. My other brothers aren't really into the film stuff. They helped when they were younger, but as we got older, they kind of went out of it. Who wanted to do sports? Who wanted to do this? Who wanted to do that? Who'd rather go to the bar? But it was my mom who really helped me throughout my entire life, and she still does. I've had great support from her, and it was her camera that we had first used.
Oh, really?
To make, we stole her home movie camera, and she used to do home movies all the time, and then eventually there's no more home movies, I think, after 1995 or 6, because we hijacked the camera, and we started shooting our own stuff, and then we broke that. She got another one. We stole that one. Broke that one. She got another. She's like done buying cameras because we just kept taking them.
What type of camera was it?
Oh, these were the old. Well, the first one I don't even know what it was. JVC was like the big one that you put over your shoulder with the actual VHS that you put in.
I still have one.
So we had. Oh, those are awesome. So we started with those. I'd love to see that. We started with those, and then she ended up getting the other one, which was, I guess they were Panasonics or whatever the hell they were, and they were the little mini DV cameras.
VHS
the VHS little mini, no, the mini DV ones first, where you click it, you pop it open, you stick it in the tape, you close it, and then it turns it into something. Then I had the
VHS
the little, those ones, and then eventually it turned into like the Canon GL2.
That's going back right there. Even more back than the first camera.
Whatever they were.
HVX 170. And
well, I know I'm kind of jumping around with these cameras here, but there was some of these old cameras, and we still have two of the first ones that we had bought from Fuzz on the Lens, because our camera started off with a Canon. I think it was the Canon GL2. Then it was the Panasonic. It was a Panasonic. I can't remember what it was, but it shot on P2 cards.
I still got the camera.
I got those two. So I had the Canon, the P2 one, the Panasonic, and then we had a Sony. The Sony we actually still use on the run and gun shoots, because it's still, we got to upgrade that now. It's been a while. But and then obviously the Red, but you can't bring the Red to do interviews in the city. It's just a pain in the ass to
it's too cumbersome.
Build it in at home. Yeah. So and then obviously you got the DSLRs and stuff. But those, we still have those cameras. Maybe one day we'll put them in a case or something in a museum to Fuzz on the Lens, if anything.
This is the camera that they used when
when there was a fuzz smudge on the viewfinder.
And it's still there.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to kind of ask, because we're on the subject of like a lot of change and a lot of adaptation throughout time. So now, being that you just did your Halloween trailer for Halloween 60. What was the biggest difference from doing that now and then doing your first endeavor on it in 2012?
So, just to catch everybody up, what that is so in 2012, Trancas International Films, which is the company that owns Halloween, and HalloweenMovies.com ran this film festival, and they said, filmmakers make a Halloween film of your own, and it's going to be like whoever makes the best one wins a prize or something. And then this, just to jump forward, and the Halloween 60 thing is a parody, shot-for-shot reenactment of the new Halloween 2018 movie that's coming out, except we kind of spoof on it 20 years from now, 2038's the year. Michael Myers is 81 years old, and he's still going at it, But your question, to answer your question, I just want to give a little background.
Oh, sure.
To answer your question with it, is it was kind of like a weird reunion, first of all, going back and doing it. Because we do our own stuff now, we do our own content. But when we did the original Halloween Awakening, that was such a fun time in our lives. That was 2012 when we did that. So it was
we all graduated together.
Yeah, so it was a long time ago. And just to have Jason back in the mask, even though he was playing an much older version,
I love that
it was
mask.
like a weird reunion of our own. Like, the new real movie, it's 1978, and then 40 years later, it's like you get Jamie Lee Curtis back and John Carpenter back and all of those people back. For us, it was almost like the same thing, even though we didn't have our full cast from Halloween Awakening. I saw Mike Carone, who the night before we released it, and we were telling him about it, and he was laughing about it. He's like, anything I could do to promote it and whatever. So it was like this weird little nostalgic thing for us. The difference in shooting it was definitely the lighting, because when we shot Halloween Awakening, we had only 3 lights. We had a 3 lighting kit, and they were LEDs that were just blue color temperature. That was it. And they were little icons. And then this one, we had our whole Fuzz on the Lens arsenal. Also the camera, we shot that one with the Sony right when we first got it. We didn't even know how to use the friggin' thing. The Halloween Awakening was the first time we had used that camera. which kills us a lot of times because we realize we could have made it look a lot better. But we kind of just dove right into it. And then this one, we're using the red. So obviously that was a lot different, to do. But, I mean, it was just, the only thing I could say about the whole thing, it was like a weird kind of flashbacky, nostalgic, reunion-y kind of thing in a way to visit it. And we're huge Halloween fans, all of us. So that was fun just to do.
So out of everybody in your crew, who do you think has seen the most of the Halloween franchise?
Probably me. Jason's close. Jason could be equal. But probably me, just because I just watched them recently the other night, and Jason wasn't there, so I might have one-upped them right there. But
that's why he came on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. You've watched more Halloween movies, Mike. You're on for the Halloween show. So, but yeah, it's probably me, and that was just because, again, it was one of my inspirational movies. I remember watching it with my mother and my grandfather as a kid, and I've always enjoyed that film. I don't know why. It's just sometimes we just like things, and maybe it reminds us of a time when we were younger. I don't know, but I've always liked that character of Michael Myers. I like Jamie Lee Curtis. Love Donald Pleasance, and so I can watch those movies over and over again, especially around Halloween time, because it just brings you back to when you were a kid watching these movies, and you just feel that nostalgia. You feel that, and I think that's what the new movie does. It makes you feel nostalgic, and it's a movie made by the fans, and that was the whole marketing ploy. That was their whole thing, and that's what they did.
And staying on the subject of Halloween, in a general overview, I have a scenario for you.
Okay.
So let's say you take the premise of all of your costumes you've done as Fuzz on the Lens, like anything that's come to mind and stuff like that. What does Mischief Night look like for you guys if you were to put all your costumes back, and what would you guys be doing?
So if we were to go in the basement and pull out every one of our costumes and just roam around, what are you going to see? That's your question? Well, for one, you'd see that old vintage costume, the first one that comes to mind. The baby, the baby with the old woman thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You definitely would see that. But if you're talking movie stuff, well, here's a funny thing. One of my coolest costumes that I gotta find a way to use, and it's like the most cheapest, corniest costume, is a giant raisin. There is a skit somewhere in the bowels of Fuzz on the Lens Records that we had done, where we put the camera up. We used to call it Bartender Tales, and it was just to test our improv skills, and we were bored. Sometimes people go out when they're bored. They go out and they drink. People smoke pot. They do drugs, whatever. They go get girls. We filmed in our basement with costumes, and we put this camera up. And there was a lot of us. There was about 6 or 7 friends, and Steve was there, me, Jason, and what we would do is we called it Bartender Tales, and we'd have one person as the bartender, like a Saturday Night Live skit, and we'd have to come in as a new character each time.
Oh, nice.
And but we can't stop. It's like it's live. And we had so many fun characters, and one of these characters, and we'd go in the costume room, we'd have to put something together, makeshift it, and just come out. But you have to do it so quick because the camera was rolling. Like we were pretending we were on Saturday Night Live. And one costume Jason came out was a giant raisin. We hated the skit that he did, right? At the time, we hated it. We ripped on him so bad. It's like, you're supposed to be king improv, right? You're supposed to be so funny. This was one of the worst things we have ever seen. Lo and behold, we went back and revisited the footage about 6 years later. Oh my God, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Stood the test of time.
It really, I couldn't believe it. He walks in, and I don't remember who the bartender was. He goes, "What the hell are you?" He goes, "I'm a fucking raisin, motherfucker." and he just, this voice and this whole thing, it was so funny. What he was doing, I don't know what was the problem back then. We just didn't know funny. But yeah, I mean, but if you're talking our own movies of what would be happening, you'd definitely have the Bigfoot from Abnormal Attraction. You'd have Finbar, which is played by Jason from Abnormal.
He'd be like the leader.
Oh my God! I mean, we could do just on Abnormal Attraction. It's a monster movie. You guys know, you've seen it. Comedy monster movie that we did. Malcolm McDowell, Gilbert Gottfried, and Tyler Mane, and Leslie Easterbrook, and Bruce Davison, and so many other talented, great people. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, but that movie alone had like 62 monsters in it. All different costumes, all different. And it was a fun movie, and but we have all that stuff. So our Mischief Night would be pretty interesting.
So with the bar stuff, are you pretty much putting a call out for Griff's place on Newdorf?
There you go. Yeah, Griff's place. Go visit Griff's place.
Have a new commercial coming out for it.
Yeah, we had fun with that commercial. You know, Griff's a great guy, and we shot that commercial for him. It was his idea, actually, the Beer Wolf and Coors Light. He pitched it to Coors Light many years ago.
Oh, really?
And they didn't take it. I don't know why. That's such a brilliant idea. So when he told us about it, I said, screw it. We'll make it for the bar. We'll do it for here. You know, we'll tie Coors Light in because obviously it's the silver bullet. It makes sense. But we'll do it. He runs that every day at the bar. They have it on the TV, so it's funny. Every time I'm there, I look up and I see it, and I say, you know. But yeah, Griff's place is cool. Everybody check it out. New York Lane.
There you go.
I seem to remember. Did you do like one of those Super Bowl?
We did
contests.
Yeah, we did a long time ago. That's actually that day is a interesting day in Fuzz and the Lens history, because that's the day I met Rob Privatera.
Oh, wow.
Who's now a part of the company, and you know he writes for us, and you know he's starting to get into some producing now. You know, Rob's a great guy. He's went to school for marketing, and you know, but really good writer. So that day we had met him. We did a Super Bowl commercial for Doritos. It was, and we just kind of put it together quick, and we did like a high school game where. You know, these two announcers are basically, one announcer's over-talking the other announcer. You know, kind of like you and Jerry. And, but one announcer's constantly interrupting the other announcer, keeps interrupting, and finally he throws him a bag of Doritos to shut him up, you know. So it was a cute little idea, but that little day is why we met, is how we met Rob Privatera.
Awesome.
Interesting little side.
Yeah, it's funny how you meet people just doing stuff. Yeah.
It is very, and you know, because he pitched us a really funny idea. I don't know if you guys seen the thing on YouTube covering the spread. It's probably one of our most controversial skits on the internet. A lot of women don't like it because it takes place in a gynecologist's office, shot.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I saw that.
The POV of between the legs.
Yeah,
we did it with a GoPro, and we shot it in a real gynecologist's office. And we have Vic DiBattista, the comedian.
Oh, that's always
Brennan Milk, and it was right before the whole Staten Island clown thing happened. But Rob had pitched that idea to us, and I thought it was genius. I said, this is so funny, we have to do this. So within the Doritos commercial, about 2 days later, we're shooting that thing, and it was because Rob pitched it to me right there.
I saw that. I was on the floor. I was on the floor.
It's funny. It's funny. You got some women that are like, "Oh, this is funny. Get over it. It's just a joke." And I'm like, "Oh, it's so disrespectful. It's like,
so distasteful.
It's
like
distasteful.
They can debate with like one another.
It's like, relax. I mean, you know, we're not trying to insult anybody. We're just having fun. We didn't show any faces. We didn't say anything. You know, too bad. I guess. I hope. If you're not offending someone in comedy, then you're not really doing comedy.
Craig said it best too on that.
Oh yeah. Staten Island Clown is interesting because like when it was happening, I kind of had an idea. I didn't know it was you guys. I had to feel like it might have been someone from the island, but that got.
Yeah, that did a lot. That did a lot for us. You know, the clown thing. We just had a stupid idea at Buffalo Wild Wings, and it was funny. A friend of ours said it'll never work. It was me, Jason, and one other friend, and Steve obviously was included on in the other Fuzz guys. But there was one friend in particular who says it'll never work. It'll never work. Never gonna happen. About 2 weeks later, he calls me up crying on the phone, laughing. So it worked, Town, and it worked. You know, but
who did you call?
Yeah, but the Staten Island Clown thing, and not to beat a dead horse because we all know the story. We went out there and we put a clown. It went viral, and what it did do for us, which a lot of people don't know, is it got us some funding for Abnormal Attraction, and that's really why we did it. You know, we wanted to put Fuzz and the Lens's name out there. Nationally, we wanted to try to make a splash. We wanted to entertain people too and say, hey, you know, just like with Halloween 60, we can cause disruption in this world. We can force ourselves through the door. You know, we can make a splash, and that's kind of what we did with the Staten Island Clown. That's what we continually try to do with different projects, and it got us some funding for Abnormal Attraction, and that's why we were able to make that film too.
Yeah, because everybody's got a little bit of a fear of clowns.
Yeah, and I learned that a lot during the Staten Island Clown thing, you know.
Yes. When you went to
we're at Z100.
Z100, yeah.
Yeah, Danielle was
freaking out,
and that was real.
Yeah,
that was real.
Oh yeah, because she is afraid of clowns.
Petrified. Yeah, that was real. So it was really interesting. See, the reason why we picked the clown is because we had an idea. We knew there were people who they're called chlorophobes.
Yeah.
We knew that there were people who were afraid of clowns, and we knew that there were people who were just, it's just a clown, you know. And we said, okay, this is a controversial topic. That's the thing. If you put something controversial on the internet, you're going to get people to respond. Because you're going to get people agreeing, you're going to get people disagreeing, and they're going to fight. So the clown topic was a perfect thing to do because you'll get these two groups. You know, the only other thing that's more controversial than clowns at that time was probably something political.
Exactly.
You know, and but we put that out there, and then they started arguing, and it was able to just take steam and take off on its own because we didn't have to do much at that point because the world was doing it for us.
I guess you got to be a plastic straw now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that as a joke on Facebook. I took a picture of myself drinking from a straw and people were just on top of me. I'm like, I'm just making a joke, like. But speaking of abnormal attraction, you know, me and Jerry saw it twice already. Loved it.
Thank
even
you.
more both times. Both times even liked it even better the second time.
There you go. I know what you meant.
Yeah, as I'm flubbing my words. But what was the conception of it like?
So you know what's funny is we do these conventions. We go to these conventions. You know, me and Jason being horror fans. Steve's not really a horror fan. He gets that. He gets why they're attractive to people.
I think he's the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, but but you know he's not a horror guy. But we were at this convention and there was all these attractive girls walking around in like really bloody outfits and stuff. And he starts looking. He goes, you know. It was just weird that he was the one who kind of came up with the whole concept at first. He goes, you know, it's interesting. He goes, you know, there's fetishes in the world. People have feet fetish, you know, people have different kind of sexual fetishes, whatever. And he goes, and people that are into these horror movies, they find these girls attractive. Like, that's a good-looking girl, he goes, that's in there. But she's covered in blood, and she looks like death. It's like, but there's something sexy about it, and he got that. So he says, what if there was a counseling meeting for these people who were into real vampires and zombies and things because it was a weird attraction, an abnormal attraction. And then all of a sudden then we started spiraling these jokes. And the whole thing was Abnormal Attraction was originally a short. And it was to star, we were working on getting Robert Englund, who had read the script, the initial short, and really enjoyed it. And I just worked with him on Fear Clinic. And you know, we had a couple of phone calls.
Another great movie.
And we had a couple of phone calls, and you know, Robert was talking about maybe getting it to Andy Samberg's people, and you know, different things, and he got it. He understood it. Eventually, we turned it into a feature because it was on that Fear Clinic movie. A friend of mine, 3 friends of mine actually that were on that movie, said, you know, you're kind of wasting your time doing a short. If you want to do something and you want to, you know, be a filmmaker that's going to make money, that you could continue having this as a career, do a feature. Just do a feature. Just do it. So after a while, especially if you're going to put that much time and effort into it, you know, and you're going to get a Robert Englund or someone, you know, so it says you got to go for the feature. So finally we said, okay, how can we make this a feature but without ruining what we have that we know people already like? Eventually, we came up with the idea of 3 parallel storylines, so we can, you know, kind of bounce back and forth between the 3 of them, and that's how we were able to keep our initial short, which was the first part. And then eventually, scheduling changed with Robert, but we were blessed because we ended up getting Bruce Davison, who was unbelievable. And at this point in time, I cannot see anybody else playing Dr. Cole. Oh my God! It just shows you how things fall into your lap. How did we get Bruce Davison, Academy Award nominated actor? You know, how did it happen? You know, but it just goes to persistence and good story, good script, and having the budget. That always helps. You know, and being able to make that. But again, it's planning ahead. And the Staten Island Clown, you get the budget, you know, and you just roll. And that's kind of the little conception story of Abnormal Attraction.
Yeah, Robert Englund, like that would have been awesome too. Especially picture you and him next to each other.
Oh yeah. Well, we're trying. We'll see what we can do. You know, I it's always been a dream of mine to again, I did work with Robert on the Fear Clinic, you know, but it would be a dream of mine to really get to work with him, you know, directing and stuff, and hopefully we have some projects we might go out to him with, you know, just waiting for again the funding and the right moment. And maybe we can make that happen. But if not, he's a great guy, and you know,
I got a
always fun
question.
to see him.
Whether it could be him or any other actor that you worked with. Now, I'm sure you're not going to be wanting to drop so many gems on this, but what was the best time? What was the best inside joke that you could share with us between one of the actors that you worked with? Like, what's kind of like a bonding thing that you have like an inside joke with people?
I can tell you the experience, but I can't say the jokes.
Gotcha.
Just because I don't I just don't want to air that out, you know, in a sense. But I'll tell you the experience. So I was in Georgia, and we were shooting a movie called Penance Lane that's coming out soon.
Great.
Tyler Main produced the film. He's in the film. We produced it, Fuzz and Lens. And we're in the hotel, and we're sitting with Dan Roebuck, who most people probably, especially our age, would know him from Lost. He was also the partner of Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. He's on the new Geico commercial, Hoi Hoi. He's the one on that's interrupting Alexander Graham Bell. He's interrupting the guy on stage. That's Dan Roebuck. And there's a plethora of other great things that he's done. So he's there, and we're talking with him, and he's a huge horror fan too. And in comes John Schneider, Bo Duke from the original Dukes of Hazzard. He's on Dancing with the Stars right now. And he's doing pretty well. So they're both in the film, and they're both icons in television history, right? Because Danny was in the Matlock stuff, and obviously John was in the Dukes of Hazzard. And the conversation that took place between the two of them, taking funny jabs at each other, and their careers, I just sat there. I felt like I was in a moment of Entourage, where I'm like, is this really happening right now? Like, I'm in the middle of two really well-known and established and great actors kind of poking fun at one another, and, in a lighthearted, fun way. And I remember me and Kyle Mullins and my brother Jason.
I mean, if there's an opportunity to play Turtle, right?
Yeah, right. And I'm just like, yeah, right, yeah. So he'd be perfect. But we're just looking at each other like I couldn't believe where I was at that moment, and I was involved. I was like, I was there. So that's definitely the go-to, kind of inside-y joke thing that happened.
That's cool, though.
Awesome. So with the normal attraction, what's the plans for it now?
So, we haven't officially announced it, but I'll announce it here. So you're actually the first group of guys here. Yeah, you're getting an exclusive. We got distribution.
Nice.
Awesome.
And, we got distribution. We haven't announced, thank you. We haven't announced it yet because we're waiting for the rollout marketing plan that we're meeting with our distributors in November. And we're going to talk to them about a rollout and a layout. And, we just didn't want to announce, hey, we got distribution. Everyone says, well, where can we buy it?
Oh, I don't know.
Crickets. or where's the link? Crickets. So we wanted to kind of hold that information back so this way we can just kind of supply everything at once, and then everybody can go pre-order, or at least know when they can pre-order. So we're in November. We're discussing when exactly and all the platforms. I know some of them already, but I can't disclose those ones. But we got distribution, and it will be sooner than later when everyone can get it and see it. But in the meantime, they can see something else that we're a part of currently, which is Terrifier on Netflix.
Yes.
You like that transition?
I love that transition.
I could do this podcast thing.
You should work for the podcast.
So Terrifier. So speaking of Terrifier.
There you go.
So off air, we were talking about you just came back from the 40th anniversary Halloween convention, and you saw a whole bunch of Terrifier stuff. Like that's it got pretty big. Like it blew up pretty fast.
It really did,
Yeah.
and that's a testament to Damien Leone, and that's the director of Terrifier, and Phil Falcone.
What a great name for a horror movie director.
It is, right? It really is. And Damien is one hell of a special effects artist, one hell of a director, one hell of a guy. Really, really good guy, genuine guy. I'm so happy for him and everything. This was a long road for him. He started off with it as a part of a short and anthology series called All Hallows Eve, and then he was in post-production a while with Terrifier and shooting it, and they were changing things, and now for it to finally be out and doing the things that he knew it could do is really awesome. And for his partner, Phil Falcone, who's a really, really good friend of mine also, it's just great to see. We were in Pasadena, last week at the Halloween 40 convention, and we were there promoting Halloween 60, our YouTube spoof parody on Michael Myers, and a lot of people have seen it, which was really cool. We could talk about that. We sat down with Malika Cod and a lot of those guys. Awesome experience. Great guys.
The
great
son
guys.
of the Godfather.
Yeah, he's great, and his partner Ryan and Freeman, and we met Ryan Turek from Blumhouse, and all of them had seen it. They loved it. They were raving about it. They took pictures with the mask. It was cool to see and be a part of. But we were there at the 40th convention, and we're seeing so many Terrifier stuff. So I was blown away just looking at it. And then fans of the movie were coming up to me and my brother, and they were saying, "You're in the movie. Can we take a picture with you? Can we get your autograph?" And I was, "Yeah, sure." And they're like, "How much do you charge?" And I'm like, "No." Nothing.
I'm like, guys,
right.
wait till my next movie.
Yeah. So but we were glad to take pictures with them. Some really great, passionate I mean, listen, the horror community, especially the fans, are so great. They're so passionate.
Oh,
The
yeah,
drawings
definitely.
that I've seen,
Oh
them
my
do for
god,
you guys,
that's
one of the most remarkable things.
They really love it. You know, listen, I'm a guy. I love two genres. I love comedy and I love horror. Both of them got great fan bases, but the horror fan base really. I mean, they're just
They're rabid.
they're not
Rabid.
just knowledgeable on horror films, though. They're just knowledgeable on every film. They know everything and anything about all different movies. You know, the only one that I think could challenge them, I guess, is maybe the comic book fans.
Right.
You know, and some of those Comic-Con guys. But they're so good. They're so passionate. They're so devoted and dedicated. And it was really cool to be a part of it. Really cool to see because, in a way, one of the fans says to me, he goes, you know, we're here for the Halloween 40th convention. And you got these actors here who did this little unknown movie, Halloween at the time. And here they are 40 years later, like icon stars. The guy goes, that's happening with Terrifier. And I sat there and I paused and I was like, if I get to come to a Terrifier convention in 40 years, I said, that'll be something else. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
I'll have my own little booth. Hopefully at the time, Abnormal Attraction 2 will be coming out.
And Michael Myers would be like 121.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah.
No,
So-
because I've seen on Facebook like a lot of like the horror-based websites are writing about it. I saw one. There was an editorial just writing about is Art the Clown going to be in that top tier with Leatherface and Michael Myers and Freddy and Jason?
He could be. He could be. I mean, I don't know if he's there yet, just because all those ones have sequels, right?
Yeah.
And but I think he's on his way. I think Damien created an unbelievable character. I think the way he just looks and everything is just unbelievable. And I think David, who's the actor who plays Art the Clown, I think he did a tremendous job as Art. I think he knocked it out of the park. I think the sky's the limit for him and Terrifier. And I called Damien when I was out there telling him about everything. I said, you know, I just hope I got my head chopped off. We all know this. Spoiler alert, sorry. But by now I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. And if you haven't, you should, to see how my head actually comes off, because it's pretty damn cool. But I called Damien and says, you know, we got to find a way to get me in the sequel now. I says, you know, I may be dead, but you got to, come on, bring me back, please. Please. But, you know, they really got something cool, and I think if it hasn't already, which I think it has blown up, it's going to go even further. I really do.
Yeah, because it was one of the most talked on Netflix. It's trending. It was like in the top 5 or 10.
Yeah.
Trending on Netflix.
Yeah, it's trending on
Yeah.
Netflix, and I think, and someone I'm sure will correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm not, it sounds good, was I think it was like one of the most watched things in October
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So-
pretty
So that's
impactful.
why Iron Fist and Luke Cage got canceled. Everybody
Yeah, it was all Terrifier. Art actually went and slit their throats.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that's what happened.
Or-
David's doing overtime on
Yeah,
that.
he's killing the competition.
Yeah,
So everybody
yeah,
can-
exactly.
So which, by the way, for those of you that don't see, it's just Mike's head is talking. His whole body, they actually chopped off his head.
They did. They didn't have the budget to fake it, so it's actually just my head on a stick right now.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Who am I talking to then? That's the biggest question I gotta ask.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's underneath controlling the puppet?
Exactly.
But do you have the
head?
Or do
I have a copy of the head.
Okay.
I don't have the head because it was promised to a producer investor. So I think the guy, and again I could be wrong, is in the UK. So my head could be in England on some guy's mantle. Hopefully, hopefully it's a warm fireplace and it's a nice house that it's on. But I wanted it, and Damien was like, well, we have to give it to the producer. But he was kind enough to make me a bust of a copy of it. So I have it. It's just bald. It doesn't have any hair. So I have to get the hair put in. But eventually I might do in our Halloween display, maybe next year I'll do a Terrifier thing with him holding my head or something.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
So
Kind of to go off that too, now you mentioned about the distribution, which is a big kudos for how you're going to end off the year and for the new journey that you're going to take for next year. So what are like the newest things that are going on for you that's going to kick off 2019?
Wouldn't you like to know?
dun dun dun.
Listen, we got a couple of films that are ready to go. Two films that are really ready to go that are horror and thriller, which again, we have so many friends in the horror industry. We want to capitalize on that. We have a great fan base that likes some of the horror stuff we're doing, so we want to, give them what they're asking for. Again, if I could do comedies forever, I'd do that too. Anyway, I do dramas too. We do have comedies and dramas written. It's just the 2 horror ones right now are the most ready to go, one of which does have some funding into, and the other one's teetering on some funding. So once we round out the budgets on those, then the goal is to start shooting and get another movie going. It's been too long. I've been living with Abnormal Attraction. We've all have for way, way, way too long, and that was just because it was a very ambitious film with a lot of CGI and monster effects, and it was a lot of things that we had never done before. We got the movie colored by Technicolor, and just the sound design and the mix was very, very, very overwhelming because there was so much magical elements and sounds we had to make up. So this movie, the next 2, will be a little dialed back. And,
you kind of got it after
kicking it old school.
Yeah, in what we've done, but we think we have some pretty cool, fresh ideas, things that have never been done. One could definitely be a franchise, and we think it is. And it's got great marketability. And I was just on the phone with a friend of mine who's from the Halloween franchise, and she may be coming on board.
Is it Danielle Harris?
No, it's not Danielle Harris.
Damn it! And now everybody, now everybody that knows me is now laughing because I asked if it's Danielle Harris.
You know what's funny about Danielle Harris is I've met her once. She doesn't know who I am because I've met her like once in my life. I was like, hi. But she's probably the only one that I really had never like fully gotten to meet, and I was hoping to get to talk with her at age 40, but she wasn't there because she either just had a baby or she's having a baby.
I think she's having it.
Yeah, so she wasn't there. But again, one day our paths will cross, I'm sure.
And then you will get a phone call.
And then I will bring you to set with a bag over your face, and then reveal, and there she will be.
And then I can die happy. No.
Yeah.
Can I get that right?
No,
you have it on tape.
Yeah, I have it on tape. Yeah.
Then she'd be like, "No, why do you have to take that off? That was the best looking thing I've seen."
Now, see, I don't know if that's an insult to you or an insult to us, because this is the best looking thing she's seen all day is a bag, and she's been seeing us all day.
well, let's digress. But yeah, you say you've been with Abnormal Attractions for so long. We've been with Black Sun for like 5 years now.
I know, it's just the game. It's just what we do. We live with. They're like children. A friend of mine, Justin Beam, and he was involved with Halloween Trancas for a while, and he was a writer for Fangoria. That was one thing he has said to me many years ago. He goes, "Films are like our children. You nurture them, you feed them. You're like writing our scripts, right? They grow up. You start making the movie, right? Now they're in their teens, and then eventually distribution. It's time to let them go. You have to fund them and pay for them, and then, and you live with them forever, and they're pains in the asses, and then some days they're great, and then hopefully by distribution time, when it's time to let them go, you're proud they grew up."
Oh, I made the joke when we were doing Black Sun, because I counted how long it was from, like, conception to shooting, and it was 9 months. And I made the joke. I said, we were pregnant for 9 months.
There you go.
Now
you're ready to deliver.
Now we're delivering it.
It's so true, though.
It is.
Any filmmaker can relate.
Oh yeah, any filmmaker can
tough.
relate. But yeah, so I think. Got anything? You got anything you want to talk about?
I should have made notes.
No. Have you seen the new Halloween?
I have.
Yeah?
I have seen the new Halloween. I saw it opening night.
So
I actually was asked. We were in California, and we had the opportunity, when we were in Pasadena, to see it in a pre-screening, and we declined to do it because it was tough. It was me, Jason, and a buddy of ours, Jack Norman, who... Oh, there's another topic. Oh, good. I got something for you.
Okay.
But this guy, Jack Norman, who is a huge Halloween fan, he's a filmmaker from Ohio. He's in Cincinnati. We all wanted to see it back home with some of our friends. He's got his girlfriend that he wanted to see it with, and that's how they met. They have a daughter that they named Lori Moon, which...
oh, my God.
There you go.
Awesome.
Some Halloween references there. So he's a huge Halloween fan, but he wanted to see it with his girlfriend, and I wanted to see it with my fiance, and also with a couple of friends here that enjoy the Halloween franchise like us. So we declined to go see the pre-screening there, which probably would have been cool,
rough.
but it was tough.
Oh my God!
But we saw it here in New York opening night, and we had some fun there. I think we brought like 30 people to the theater.
Oh man!
So I'm sure Trancas and Universal and Blumhouse are all pretty happy with us there. We paid our dues. But speaking of which, the guy Jack Norman, I'm doing a movie. You talked about what's coming up in the future. In April, I'm supposed to go to Ohio to shoot the sequel to The Wicked Ones.
Oh wow!
And so I'm in that, And Jack Norman was the actor who played the serial killer, the Wicked One, in the original film, and now we're doing the sequel, which is really fun. They're actually running an Indiegogo campaign as we speak. You could find it on Indiegogo. It's the Wicked Ones. The director Tori's a great guy. They got a really, really cool idea. And again, it's by popular demand. They got a sequel out of it. So I'm excited to be a part of that. I'm excited to shoot that, and it'll be an interesting experience. Not having any control whatsoever of anything other than just acting.
There you go.
So it could, but see, the problem is when I act, I goof off too much. The thing is, I would hate myself. When I'm a director, I'm serious. I got to work. Too, When I'm acting, I'm like that pain in the ass actor, like trying to have fun. It's like, yeah, baby, let's do it. Right, yeah. And then also action, and then it's all right. Yeah, 1 minute. Right. No. But
where's my SAG fees, bro?
Is that,
give me the M&Ms, only the green ones.
Is that one of those things with me? It's like for some reason, like I like being in I don't want to say like I'm a control freak, but it's like I like being in control of a situation.
Thank God, because I'm not.
Like Jared's just all over the place. Yeah.
I guess being a director is being a narcissist, right?
Yeah.
In a way.
but it's like I try not to be, but it's like
we all try not to be. It's I don't know. It's true though. Naturally, directors are able to command the ship. They're able to. They have to be in control because they can be in control because they like being in control. They want to be in control. And also they're able to, right? And they're able to motivate people too. They're able to get the experiences out of their actors. They're able to create this trust with your actors, and you're able to get the performances out of them. So I don't think it's a bad thing that you enjoy being in control. I just think it's only bad in the way that you use it. If you're using power in a negative way and in a degrading way to people, then obviously that's really, really bad. But if you're using your power in a way to create good art, to get experiences and emotions out of your actors and actresses, and to make sure that your ship is being guided the right way, and not wrong, then it's all good.
I'm not like one of those people that's like control, but it's like, let's just say like you give a little bit of power to someone else, like a producer, like, hey, can you do this? And then they go off to do it, but you're used to doing it yourself, but you want to know like, hey, what's going on? That's my thing. Where it's like let's say like Chris, I have Chris running off to do. Here's a location, and he's like, yeah, give me like a couple of days, and like the next day I'm like, hey, did you get it? And he's like, yeah, I'm still talking.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I'm just like, you have like
that's hard for me too to relinquish power, because the thing is, but that's a good. I think that's a good trait is to just constantly be on top of things. But it's true. Like I have a problem with that too, which is
patience.
It is, and you have to be able to just trust your people that you've either hired or you work with, your partners, and make sure that and you know that they're going to do it. Obviously, if you don't hear back in the week, then obviously, but it's tough for me too. Like I get, because then it's like, then why don't just go do it yourself? You have to trust the people that you bring on board, and that's just something that people who always are in control have to be able to learn. Something else that I just thought of that I wanted to briefly touch upon. There are some shorts that we just finished with some great people I like to plug. One is called Meditation. It just won an award at the Cutting Room Film Festival. It's we produced it. I co-directed it with Gilbrando Acevedo. Gilbrando's a great friend of mine. I've worked with for many years.
Since the beginning.
Yeah, he's a really great guy. Came on early on, and it was his first directorial debut.
Oh wow!
And first movie he directed. So yeah, and he did a great job. I'm really proud of him. And the movie's called Meditation. It's something totally different that Fuzz on the Lens has never really done before. It's a dramatic piece, but it's got some satire in it. It's got some humor. It's got some horrors. It deals with so many different topics that are happening right now in society, like gender, and it's a really cool project. And hopefully, you guys will get to see it soon. Another one is a film called The Garden, which it was another friend of mine, Ed Heavey. It was his directorial debut. And he's in Gotham. He's done the Mama's Boys with not Mama's Boys. What the hell was that called? Inside Story with us. He was the guy with no teeth in Abnormal Attraction. He just did a thing. He has some PTSD, and so he did a film about a soldier, war PTSD, and that's a really cool project that we just did. That's just finishing up now. And then Bottle in the Smoke, which was
that's old actually school. One of my favorites.
That's old
honestly.
school.
Yeah,
old
so
school
that
fun.
one's finally, it was one of the first things we shot, I think, with the Red, and it got tied up initially, with some editing stuff, and it was supposed to be a short, and then it was a feature, and it was short, so now it's a feature. We have a really cool feature out of it. We had to shoot some additional scenes to tie it up once we had a whole thing. And we're finally finishing that up now. Everything's shot, everything's done. Now we're in the final stages of post-production before we go to scoring and dialogue, sound fixes. But that project's really, really cool. I can't wait. The guy Craig Pisani, who wrote it and directed by Jack Hartnett, I starred in it, which is interesting, and I'm excited to see how people respond to that because I'm a lead in the movie, and it was definitely challenging because the film is a full dramatic thing.
I saw the trailer.
Really dramatic piece, and I'm a goofball, so how the hell I don't know. We'll see how that works out, but we're all proud and happy this project. Again, it's another thing that you would never see or haven't seen from Fuzz and the Lens before. And again, it's just to show that we, have range. We can do many different things. It's not just your comedies and your horrors. We can do some dramatic things as well.
I feel like a Google Calendar kind of fits the colors of the rainbow at this point.
Yeah, right?
For everything.
We're trying. We like to get our hands in everything. Our motto is entertainment, and there's many forms of that. Whether you like to make someone laugh, someone scared, someone cry. Speaking of horror movies, have you guys seen that thing on Netflix, Haunted Hill or whatever?
I'm just about to start.
I'm on episode 2. My brothers finished it already. They loved it. Everyone's been raving about it. I'm absolutely petrified right now. Why? It's so good. It is so good.
Oh, wow.
It's funny that you mentioned, because a lot of people were talking about, it's the scariest thing on Netflix. During the summer, there was this other movie called Veronica.
I haven't seen it. I gotta check it out.
And everyone was, it's the scariest thing ever. And we're watching this thing, it was good.
It wasn't great, though.
But it wasn't, why is everybody saying,
I'll say I don't get scared really. And, when we're the guys behind the camera, we kind of know all the magic tricks, right? But I think this thing, at least so far, I'm only halfway through episode 2, season 1. So I think there's only one season, but I'm halfway through the second episode, and so far I'm thinking I'm loving it. I'm thinking it's really cool. There's some really, really scary moments in it. It's an interesting, different story. It's a story that's told a lot at Haunted House. We hear those, but they're doing some different stuff in it that I'm curious to see where it goes. So I'm definitely recommending that. So whoever is doing that show, you guys can send the check to the plug.
There you go.
But another thing, before I'm trying to plug everybody's stuff that we're doing with them, but I know I'm going to forget something. Someone's going to piss. But Craig Lloydgren's special also, I'm sure he talked about it. Married and Miserable.
That's going to be exciting.
We did that. Really, really, really fun. Last night I was with Mike Ciccoli, who's a comedian. He also was doing this stuff. Mike's so unbelievable. Funny. He was at the St. George. I introduced him. He did an act there. He was at the Married and Miserable thing with us too, with Craig. And he's got such a fun thing. I'm so happy for him and what he's been doing, and I'm really excited to see where that and other things that he's got in the works takes off. I'm curious to see where all that goes.
I know we had Craig on. He was an hour and a half of just
non-stop jokes,
non-stop
energy. Guys, he's like, I'm surprised he wasn't doing the interview standing on the chair and bending down, ripping his pants, because he's done that in a couple of comedy shows.
He almost did a couple of times. I was like, whoa, Craig, calm down.
Oh, he's great. Craig's awesome.
Go
yeah, he's so cool. He's so great. One of the most genuine guys, one of the good guys here on Staten Island. That's the thing. Staten Island's got a great community of talented artists, whether it's filmmaking or comedians or writers or whatever. Special effect guys, musicians. There's so many great talented people on Staten Island, and it's cool when we find each other. Because for so long I was unaware of the community on Staten Island. And then eventually, little by little, I started seeing it. I think I was having this discussion with you, Jerry, a while back.
Right.
That I felt like such an ass because I never went to these events. And I started hearing from people, the Fuzz and Lens guys, they think they're too good for anybody. They don't come out to any of this stuff and support. And that's so not true. It's just we didn't know of them. We just were doing our own thing,
It's all I get.
We had no idea. And then once I found out, once we found out, I'm so supportive of you guys and obviously Chris and of Provenzano and Michael Robert Anderson and Lloydgren and just so many guys that we'd love to collaborate and support any way we can. And I mean, I just plugged half the island of filmmakers. Mike Margeri. Who else can we get in here? So
we're from south to north shore on this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's so, and I'm sure, and I know there's a lot more that I'm forgetting, and some really, really great people. But this island's got some great talent, and thank God they put a film studio. I'm just pissed off they did it before I did it, but it's cool. It's up, it's running,
back and forth. It's opening, it's not opening.
It's there. I just read something in the paper today.
Yeah, I saw that.
That said they've been shooting stuff there. They're doing some Daredevil things. Some other show, Blue Bloods over there, I think. So they're working. Unlike the wheel that's gone now. You hear about that?
Yeah, thank God. I was convinced. I'm like, we're going to get another type of Hurricane Sandy, and that wheel's just going to the wrong way. It's not going to go in the ocean. It's going to go the wrong way.
Yeah, so they don't have that, but they're I love what they're doing with that area. You got Vin Vicente and him and Doreen and Luann
There's
are
another
doing at the
one.
St.
He's
George
another
Theater is
hustler from
unbelievable.
over a year.
Oh my God, he's a huge hustler. The guy's unbelievable.
What
But
high school was he?
him and what Doreen and Luann and the whole St. George Theater staff are doing over there and their entire board is fantastic. I am so happy with what is going
Their
on with that
renovations
theater.
are beautiful.
Unbelievable. Great supporters of the arts and the community, and I give all the credit in the world to them. I really, really do. You know, I love going over there. You know, I'm there all the time at their events. They got great events. You know, they really do.
So there's a lot to celebrate. I'm just going to leave it off in this last question with you. So with all the times that you've done like your film stuff with people and things of that sort, what was your favorite time that you went out to like a diner or something with that with those type of people? Did you ever have a time where you like swarmed out a diner and stuff like that after a set?
Yes. The one that comes to mind, I'm sure there's more, but the one that comes to mind is actually after we shot Abnormal Attraction, we went to Broadway Joe's
Oh boy.
with Ron Jeremy.
Oh my God.
The kitchen,
can only imagine.
The kitchen was closing, and they kept it open for us. We had wings, we had some drinks, and Ron doesn't actually drink, but he had the wings. And we had such a fun time. And we were trying to keep things low-key, but how can you keep anything low-key when you have Ron Jeremy with you and you're going out in public? But, you know, we had such a fun time hanging out. And that was the first thing we shot for Abnormal Attraction.
Oh really?
Very first thing we did. We did it with Ron Jeremy. We got the stuff done. It was all that won't say what it happens for those who haven't seen it yet. But
Yeah, no.
but it's a cool surprise. But we just shot that scene, and then we go out there, and it was funny. The next day, I'm in the gym. I'm working out in the gym with my brother and my friend, and all of a sudden, I see on Instagram # Ron Jeremy's on Staten Island. Ron Jeremy's on Staten Island. He was in Broadway Joe's, and people on Facebook are talking about it. And then a friend of mine comes up and he goes, "All right, what'd you do with Ron Jeremy?" I said, "What do you mean? How'd you know?" He goes, "If anybody's bringing Ron Jeremy to this island, it's you. Tell me what you did, what's going on, what's happening."
# hold my weight.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, that was one of those cool moments where it was like bringing a bunch of people after set, hanging out, and it was cool that it was with somebody so iconic.
Yeah, right.
Was he flirting with anybody?
Wasn't flirting with anybody. I say everyone was flirting with him.
I mean, you gotta ask.
I'll
It's
tell you
Ron
this:
Jeremy.
there was a girl there, and he was very polite. And he goes, the girl asked if he could sign her breast. So he did. Then he asked if he could make out with her. The boyfriend was there,
Oh my God.
and he asked the
boy.
boyfriend, "Can I make out with your girlfriend?" And the boyfriend said yes.
Oh my God.
So he did. And then Ron turns to me and goes, "Works every time. All you have to do is ask." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "How does this happen?" But I mean, he's a pro, literally. So I don't know, whatever.
Oh my God.
Talk about magic on that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, but Michael, thank you so much for coming on for the podcast.
Oh,
It's
thank
been
you for having
really
me.
good to have you.
Honored to be here. Honored to come down and see the studio and everything. If only we had a camera. No, but it's really great. I'm so happy to be here on your 14th episode, and I wish you luck on many more,
Thank you.
your growth, and keep doing it. Don't
Thank you.
stop.
Until we get a camera. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. Episode 14 of Collective Podcast wrapped up with Michael Leavy of Fuzz on the Lens Productions. Christian, how are you feeling?
Really good. No, it was great. It was a great conversation. Learned a lot about just filmmaking and stuff. You know, always a student of filmmaking. Always want to learn. And especially with me, I like a lot of behind the scenes stuff, especially conceptually, and where people started out and how they began.
It brings the human out of anybody, especially knowing those stories. It makes the world that much more relatable. So it's always nice to have people share their stories, such as like what Mike has done.
We're definitely gonna have Mike back on soon.
Tomorrow.
No, but yeah, so we're gonna have him back on. I'm gonna try to get one day. We'll probably get everybody on, the whole Fuzz team on.
Ooh.
Like, we'll have
They can lend us a couple microphones.
yeah, we'll have a summit. We'll have a Fuzz on the Lens summit with everybody, and so there's that. So some programming alerts next week.
The alerts.
Next week is our big Larry Sharp interview.
Christian. Larry Sharp is going to be Something that we're gonna remember for the rest of our
I'm
lives.
going to be asking
and I
him,
hope I'm fully responsible.
I'm going to be asking him a lot of interesting questions about New York, especially what's going on with like a lot of things that are going on politically in New York. So I'm really excited about that. We have him for about an hour, right?
Yes,
So,
and guys, I'm gonna give you a teaser. I'm gonna ask him how he likes his eggs.
Oh yeah,
That is the most in depth of my questions.
for everybody that's listening, if you go on, I think it's pinned. If you go on the Caputo, if you go on the Collective Podcast Facebook page, it's pinned to the top. It's also, if you're floating around Facebook, you got the sponsored post too. There's a post where you can ask questions. So if we have time at the end, I want to get to viewer questions. So if you can, guys, comment on that. Ask Larry Sharp some questions about just, anything New York that, if you vote for him, if you want to vote for him or whatever. Anything that you want.
And a big shout out for Joe Valenti asking his 2 wonderful preliminary questions.
Those questions
that you
will be asked. Thank
will
you,
be
Joe.
hearing.
And of course,
on
Joe.
the Larry Sharp episode.
And of course, Joe, we couldn't go podcast without mentioning you. It's going to be like that for the end of time. Yes. So Larry Sharp next week. And then after that, I don't know. But future is always being written. But we have the big one next week. Awesome. Can't wait. Jerry.
I love you.
Thank you. So, everybody, like and subscribe. Keep following us. Like us on Facebook, Collective Podcast. Like Fuzz on the Lens, their Facebook page, their YouTube page. Find them on IMDb. Find them on YouTube. Watch all their great stuff.
Find them in my house.
Yeah, you'll see them all around Staten Island in the tri-state area. Go to a convention, you might find them. You might find them running around. They're always roaming around. They're always pounding the pavement. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, Jerry. You'll have anything to promote, right?
I don't think so for this one.
Okay,
Promotions
so
will always be saved for a later time,
Jerry,
and we have some good stuff to
Jerry,
say.
Jerry doesn't have anything to promote, and yeah. So yeah. So I guess you can sign off now, Jerry.
Bye, people. We love you.